Welcome back to the Better Lives podcast. I'm your host, Caitlin. Today we want to talk to you about buying your first home. We know that there can be some excitement and potential anxiety that comes along with that, and we wanted to bring in a home buying expert to join us in the discussion. Central Willamette's very own Joshua Pairan, Director of Real Estate. Josh, we're so happy to have you on the show today. Thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah.
It's beautiful outside. It's home buying season. So
I know. It's been so sunny and nice. I've really been loving it. First things first, can you share a bit about your role as Director of Real Estate and what you do for our members?
Sure, yeah. Let's talk about what I do. That's not boring at all. Probably my biggest role is just kind of setting the vision for the department, following, of course, what our credit union vision is and, the goals that we're trying to achieve. But I think, the reality is that, I kind of have that high level look on, all three portions of our real estate division, the first mortgage side, the home equity side, and the mortgage servicing side. So that's kind of the general level, I guess, of what I do. But I mean, fundamentally, I think what I do is really do my best to try to remove roadblocks from my team. So making their life a little bit easier. And, when their life's a little bit easier, I think they do a pretty good job of making our members' lives a little bit easier.
For sure. For first-time homebuyers that feel lost, what are the very first things they should do before looking at houses online?
Nothing. I love looking at houses online.
It's kind of the best part. Yeah. I bought my house in 2023, and the most fun part of it was just looking, at all the listings on Zillow and like, oh, $1 million? Yeah, I can swing that.
I could never be a realtor for that exact reason, because I'd just be looking. I want to go in that person's house if it's for sale, and just do it. I still do it to this day, and I'm pretty sure my wife would not appreciate if we moved again, because we just moved in April, and so it's funny, even talking about this and saying a home buying expert. Of course I'm on the lending side, but actually, because I've bought a couple of houses in my lifetime, I'm like, I almost am kind of one of those home buying experts. I've lived it a couple of times.
How many houses have you owned?
Three houses now. Bought my first house in 2007, and
right before 2008.
Oh yeah, it was brilliant too. And I was in real estate back then, and that's a whole nother story. But the interesting part of it is all three of those home buying experience 100% different each time, just different markets, different, elements that take place. Of course, I've been in different places in my life, and so no one purchase is exactly the same from there. So honestly, keep looking at houses online. That's so much fun. I don't know if I'd have advice against that. Kind of answering the question, that anxiety, side of the home buying purchase. Again, even buying three houses, it's still kind of anxiety ridden.
Well, it's so hard. Like for me, it took 45 days to close. Typically it's like 30 days maybe. And so that was anxiety inducing in itself. Just the waiting and am I going to get the house,
Yeah. And that's not, I don't know if that's ever going to change, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, sure. Maybe 30 days is a little bit more typical, but maybe the irony of that whole scenario is actually that shorter that time period is, the more anxiety you will have, because there's less time to get things done. You have less time to make decisions as well. So I'm like, maybe this is the lender in me, but I'm like, 45 days sounds good.
That's good to know for next time.
Yeah, it doesn't sound bad, but in such a competitive market too, good luck seeing 45-day offers anymore. But just thinking about your question though, in general, I have this thought about just real estate, home buying, and all of this stuff. And I don't know if this is an age thing or a demographic thing or exactly what it is, but I am 100% a firm believer in finding people that you trust and then allowing them to do their job and actually listening to those people. So, just like if I go to the doctor's office and, I tell my doctor my illness or my illness, and they say, well, maybe you should do this. And it's my fault if I don't listen to them in that regard. I don't know what they do and how they do it, but they're my doctor and I trust them. And I honestly think about just real estate in this realm as well. So many people will hire a realtor and find themselves a mortgage professional that can help them. And then they don't listen. And I'm not trying to say, don't have your own thoughts. You're going to get asked a million questions through that process, as I'm sure you know, and you have to make a lot of decisions. But, just the idea of as much as I'm for getting online and looking at houses online, I'm not 100% for reading news articles or listening to your brother's uncle's nephew about their home buying experience and getting the advice from them.
Everyone is just so different. It's
100% different. Like I said, my 3 purchases, all 3 of those were different, and I'm in this world, Yeah. So to compare the two is just it just seems like cruel and unusual punishment to me. So
was it easy for you to buy your first home?
No, it was not easy. I did it without a realtor. I don't recommend.
You didn't use a realtor, huh?
I did not use a realtor. I was like, I do this for a living. This will be a piece of cake. And that was not a piece of cake. And then it was 2007. I got married and was in Jamaica through half of that conversation, through the process anyways. Also, a solid rule to live by: do not leave the country while buying a house. It is not advisable. I couldn't even call my lender when I was out of the country. Like, not all phone lines worked. So I had to call my mother-in-law, and she had to relay stuff to my lender. And it was not a fun process. So add that to Josh's list of things not to do when purchasing a home.
So funny. Why were you in Jamaica?
For our honeymoon. So
okay.
We got married right before we bought the house, and then went on our honeymoon in Jamaica. And then and it's also a very critical time too, towards the end. I want to say, we got back on the 10th and signed papers on the 15th or something like that. And it wasn't
so right in the middle. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, all 3 of those very different experiences. I stayed in the country for the other 2. So
buying a home is super expensive and can feel pretty daunting. Can you tell us a bit about any mortgage products that we offer to help individuals achieve their dreams?
I mean, absolutely. So first, let me just start with the fact that, the central Willamette difference and really honestly just the credit union difference, right? I mean, we are a not-for-profit financial co-op. That gives us the ability to, offer lower rates and fees than what we'll see from the big banks or from a lot of other players. And I think that just in general is going to help a lot of borrowers keep more money in their pocket, be able to afford the things that they want to afford. Lower interest rates mean lower monthly payments, meaning, you have more money back in your pocket. So, I mean, just from the get-go, I think, credit unions offer, and obviously specifically Central Willamette offer, great opportunities for borrowers when this process is expensive and daunting as it is. We also have some very specific products too that we offer because we take home ownership so serious. We really know how important home ownership is. In fact, I was just having a conversation with my team and sharing an article with my team about the gap, the wealth gap between homeowners and renters. I want to say the statistic was a little bit older. It's a trailing statistic. So it was as of the end of 22, the wealth gap between homeowners and renters was at the highest it's ever been. And it just goes to show kind of how important, owning a home can be. And we take that seriously. So, along with just generally having lower fees, lower interest rates. We do something that's actually fairly atypical in the market, and we offer the ability to purchase a manufactured home in a park. It's not generally considered real estate. Real estate, if you get into the technicalities of it being a home and land, if you own a manufactured home, you don't own the land.
Right, because you pay park rent.
Exactly
usually, right?
Yes, but the benefit of being able to do that, one, is generally they're going to be more affordable. So helping people, when again, homes continue to rise in price, it offers a more affordable option for people to purchase an asset that has value and can build value for you. So somebody can purchase a manufactured home and then sell said manufactured home at a later date and use that maybe for a down payment to buy their next home if that's part of their individual goals. So pretty uncommon product, but designed out of the need to have more affordable options for people to be able to purchase.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, if manufactured home in a park isn't necessarily somebody's cup of tea, they're like, okay, Josh, I want that, what we kind of call stick built. I want that regular home, white picket fence. Trying to create options for those folks as well, even in a difficult market. And I just say difficult simply because rates are higher than what they have been for the previous decade. I also saw another statistic pointing out, I think it was a statistic comparing cost of living, your mortgage payment in relation to median incomes. And there was only one other time that that number was worse, and I'm going to mess this up, but I think it was like 1981 when interest rates were like 18%. So even though home values were a lot lower then.
Well, yeah, I mean, people will say, oh, I bought my house in 90 and I had my rate of like 12%. And I'm like, yeah, well, your house was like 80 grand. So it's not the same.
Exactly. But it does kind of go to show, it still is the second worst. It wasn't necessarily the worst. There was a time when those were a little bit, it was really close, but it's still, it just shows, I think the relation of saying this is a little bit more of a difficult market for folks. We do offer another product called our no down payment product. And sure, maybe one could argue the validity of not having a down payment right now, because if you think about the cost of homes, by not putting any money down, you're financing the entire amount of the home. It doesn't exactly make the payment go down. No. The more you finance, right, the bigger the payment's going to be. But it does offer an opportunity for a lot of, especially first-time home buyers to purchase a home without having to have a large lump sum, saved in advance to still be able to buy, and then has some pretty cool features in it as well. We do offer a credit for doing a home buyers class of $2,000 towards their closing cost, which
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that can really go a long ways. It has some cool features. I don't necessarily want to get into the mud with it, but again, to offer more affordability, things like a 40-year term for your first mortgage to lower that monthly payment just a little bit more, which is kind of, again, a fairly atypical product that you won't see out there. But again, we've really taken to heart the ability to offer something that may be able to benefit our members and make homeownership more affordable for them.
Is that 40-year loan only for the no down payment program?
Currently, that's the only way that it is offered, as kind of that specialty product. Like any loan, there's going to be some pros and cons of it. Obviously, I think the biggest pro of that 40-year term is that lower monthly payment that's going to help with affordability. I could argue too at the same time, maybe don't keep a loan for 40 years.
Who does though?
It's pretty uncommon. Especially the 40-year, because that's not a product that's out there. But how many people keep a loan for 30 years either?
We refinanced after 2 years, so same house, new loan. But people will also move, I think the average to say is like 3 to 5 years someone stays in their first home or something like that. It's not very high.
Yeah, I'm not, it's been a little while since I've looked at the first home statistics. I've kind of operated from the just how long people are staying in their home. And that 3 to 5 definitely was a statistic.
Yeah.
I want to say it's pushing 10 now,
Really?
simply because of this wonderful thing called the lock-in effect that we're all feeling. So all the folks that were able to lock in really awesome rates in 2020 and 2021. I mean, even if you wanted to move, it's kind of hard to walk away from a 3% rate into, the 6s or 7s, unless you really need to. I spoke to a realtor the other day, and he talked about of his listings, of all the listings he did, only one of the sales of his was for something other than death, divorce, or relocation. Everything else, there was only one other thing that was like, I want to move. And they actually did it and walked away from a good rate. That was it. So
people are making their starter homes their forever homes.
I wouldn't say forever homes. I'm just saying that starter home has become it's not maybe a 3 to 5 year plan now. It's maybe more of like closer to a 10-year plan, which obviously can change the just someone's perspective a little bit. I know when we bought our first house, it was 5 years. We stayed there for 7, but it was 5 years was the original plan. And I think that's changed a little bit, but I mean, granted, when I bought my house in 2007, the average age of a home buyer was mid-20s. And
it's like 35 now or something like
35,
that.
36, 37, something like that. So, yeah, maybe, when you're in your 20s, right, you're still a little bit more free-flowing. You can move, you can pick up, you can go places. And, I think when you hit your 30s, you've begun your career or maybe midway through your career. So you are a little bit more... I can stay put here for a little bit longer too. So who knows?
Well, we'll see if that changes in the future at all. What is your top piece of advice for someone just starting their home buying journey?
Top piece of advice.
Biggest one.
I don't only get one, right? I can't.
You can share a few.
Okay. Well, I'm going to harken back to find somebody you trust who does this for a living. Okay. That can be a, friend that is a realtor. I mean, they are amazing resources in this market. Obviously they have more of a perspective from that home buying side and that process side, but because again, they do this for a living, they have great lender contacts as well. Of course, I'm maybe slightly biased to say, talk to a lender that you trust. Again, we were having this conversation earlier that, mortgages, it really has kind of felt like it's become a commodity anymore. It's from both sides, both from the buyer perspective or the borrower perspective and from the mortgage loan officer perspective as well. I feel like the conversations now are from the buyer, what's your rate, what's your fees, how fast can I close? And the questions from the MLO is, what's your credit score? How much money do you make? How much money do you need? There's no more trust and care and, goal planning in any of this stuff. Like, really, what is your goal? How long are you going to stay in this home? Why are you purchasing this home? Is it your first home? Is it, are you downsizing? Are you upgrading? Those things that actually really do matter in the process, simply because now it's just been, well, if I can save $50 here, then I'm going to go there. But having bought a couple of houses doing this for a living, I know how much value there is in having a trusted professional. And so again, yes, I'm biased. This is why a credit union professional is so important. We have people, our MLOs are, have a base income to answer questions. You are not just a paycheck to them. They're not telling you exactly what they need. You can call some places and say, hey, I've got some questions about, how much home can I afford? And I've got some questions about the type of loan that I can afford. And the response is apply. Get your application in and I'll tell you what you need to know.
Definitely.
Because, if anybody's applied for a mortgage loan, it's not the easiest thing to, because we know it's more than apply. It's apply and give me all of your documents. And I
it's
need to know
a lot of documents.
It's a couple of it's not that bad. No, it's everything, income, assets, favorite color, firstborn. No, maybe not those, but it's a lot of stuff. And they know, the moment that you apply, because you've done a certain amount of work, you're probably not going somewhere else. They've kind of got you on the hook. And so if the first response that you're getting from this professional that, you're supposed to trust is apply or give me something before I give you anything, then maybe that's not the right person to work with. And so, if you call and speak to one of our MLOs here and just start like, hey, here's what I'm trying to do. Can you help me? And they're going to bust out a pad of paper and a pencil, and they're going to start going through it with you and seeing what makes sense and how to, solves the problem essentially. How can we help you become a homeowner? Or maybe you already are a homeowner and you just, life's gotten expensive and you're thinking about a debt consolidation or whatever it is. We can run those numbers. And we don't charge you anything, to do that, to just run the numbers and see if it makes sense. So find somebody who, somebody that you trust, and somebody that knows what they're doing. I think that's probably, if I had to boil it down into one, or 13, I'm not exactly sure how many that was, but
we'll call it one.
Yeah, 1.5 or so. I think that would probably be my, my biggest thing. Oh yeah. And then once you find that person, listen to them, listen to what they say. So
for sure. Well, thank you so much for joining us today on the podcast. We are so grateful that you took the time to do this. And thank you all for listening today. You can find us on Instagram and Facebook at Central WCU. Check out our podcast website page. You can send in any feedback you might have. And we are so excited to keep building better lives together. Thank you.
The information provided here is for informational purposes only and does not constitute financial advice. Consult with a qualified financial advisor before making any financial decisions.